blue skin, walking on all fours, bodies covered in hair. These are real traits found in families across the world. While most of us blend in with average height, brown eyes, and familiar features, some families stand out in the most extraordinary ways. Being different puts you in the spotlight, and for these families, that attention comes with jaw-dropping life stories. Join us as we explore 15 of the most unusual families in history. Number 15. The Ugandan Family. In a quiet part of Uganda, there lives a family that's faced a kind of hardship many people can't imagine, but their pain doesn't come from war or money problems. It comes from how people treat them, simply because they look different. This family has children born with a rare condition called microcephaly. What that means is that their heads are much smaller than what most people are born with. This can bring health problems too, like slower growth and learning troubles. But instead of offering help, many neighbors gave them a cruel name. They called them the Monkey Family. They didn't choose to be different. Microcephaly isn't something anyone asks for. It can happen for many reasons, like infections during pregnancy, problems in the genes, or even from being around harmful chemicals before birth. But none of those reasons matter to people who are quick to judge. The children in this family have had to deal with more than just health issues. They've also had to face teasing, whispers, and stares every time they step outside. Some people avoid them, others mock them. It's a tough world for any child, but even harder when people look at you and only see what's wrong. But in the middle of all this, there's something strong holding the family together: love. The mother of these kids has refused to let the hate break them. She's spoken out many times, telling people about what her children go through. She wants others to understand that having a disability doesn't make someone less human. Her voice is brave and her heart is full. She's fighting not just for her own children, but for everyone out there who's treated badly just because of how they were born. The world can be unkind, but her fight is a reminder that kindness still matters. She wants people to see her kids not as a label, not as a joke, but as real children with dreams, feelings, and worth. This family may have been given an ugly name by others, but they've shown something beautiful: the power of love and never giving up. They didn't hide from the world. They faced it day by day. Number 14. The Fugates of Kentucky. The Fugates, also known as the Blue People of Kentucky, are remembered not for anything they did wrong or right, but because of the color of their skin. Their skin isn't pale, tan, or dark. It's blue. Not just a hint, clearly, noticeably blue. This rare condition is called methemoglobinemia. It's a mouthful, but the idea is simple. It's something you're born with when both parents carry the same rare gene. That gene changes how the blood carries oxygen. Instead of a healthy red, their blood turns darker, and that gives the skin a blue tint, most noticeable on lips, fingers, and toes. The story began in the early 1800s when Martin Fugate, one of the first family members, settled in a remote part of eastern Kentucky. He and his wife both had the gene, and several of their children were born with blue skin. Because the area was so cut off from other towns, the family mostly married within the same small group, which caused the gene to keep showing up generation after generation. Over time, the blue skin became something the locals got used to. In fact, the Fugates became a sort of legend. Some folks whispered about it like it was magic. Others just saw them as neighbors who looked a little different. It wasn't always easy. The family faced teasing and felt out of place at times. But they didn't hide. They worked, raised children, and went about their lives just like anyone else. Doctors were confused at first, but later, some figured out how to treat the condition, and a few Fugates were even given medicine that helped bring the blue color down. Still, many chose not to change anything. They had lived with blue skin their whole lives. It was part of their family story, part of what made them special. For them, it wasn't something to fix. It was something that made them who they were. Even though methemoglobinemia is very rare, and cases like this hardly ever happen, the Fugates became known far and wide. People came from other states just to see if the stories were true, and yes, they were. Today, the blue skin has mostly faded from the family line, but their story lives on. Number 13. The Ulus Family. In the southern part of Turkey, there's a family that has left people across the world shocked, curious, and amazed. The Ulus Family. What makes them different isn't their clothes, their language, or their home. It's the way they move. Instead of walking upright like most people, several members of the Ulus family move around on their hands and feet, just like a baby would before learning to stand. They walk on all fours, and to them, that's normal. It's how they've always done things. Many people who see them for the first time find it strange. But to the Ulus family, it's just everyday life. They've grown up like this. It's their way of moving through the world. They don't try to hide it, they've accepted it. Doctors and scientists have been studying this family for years, trying to understand why they walk this way. Some think it may be linked to something called Ugandan syndrome, a rare brain and body condition that affects movement, balance, and muscle strength. People who have it may not be able to stand upright and often move on all fours instead. It's not just their walk that makes life harder. The Ulus family also faces brain challenges that make learning, speaking, and other simple tasks more difficult. These issues have led to a lot of judgment from outsiders, but the family has kept going with strength and courage. Some researchers believe their condition might be a sign of what they call reverse evolution. That means the way the family moves may look more like how humans used to move long, long ago, before we learned to walk upright. It's almost like a piece of ancient history living in today's world. Of course, many people don't understand them. They point, stare, or even laugh. But the Ulus family keeps living their life. They cook, clean, play, and go about their day just like anyone else, just in a different way. Number 12. The Aceves Family. Meet the Aceves family. For 4 generations, this family has lived with a rare condition known as hypertrichosis. It's so rare that fewer than 100 people in the whole world have it. But for the Aceves, it's part of everyday life. Hair grows thick across their faces, arms, and bodies, and instead of hiding it, they own it. You might expect people to shave it off or try to look like everyone else. Not this family. They never tried to fit in. They know the hair is a part of who they are, and they show it proudly. In fact, they even took it to the stage. The Guinness World Records gave them the name the Hairiest Family, and they started appearing on television and even performed in the circus. Crowds stared, cameras clicked, and people watched with wide eyes. But for the Aceves, it was just another day. Doctors say the condition comes from a random gene change, something passed down from parent to child. Each child in the family has a 50-50 chance of being born with it. And yet, the ones who do? They grow up laughing, playing, and living their lives like any other kid. They don't cry about looking different. They embrace it. Number 11. The Manurang Family. Some families are born with unique looks. Others, like the Manurang family from Indonesia, have faces that slowly change as the years go by. It's not something they chose or caused. It's all because of a rare condition passed down through their genes, a condition called ectodermal dysplasia. This disorder affects more than just one part of the body. It can change how a person's skin, teeth, nails, hair, bones, and muscles grow. For the Manurang family, it has a strong effect on their bones and facial muscles. That's why their faces look different, and why those changes keep happening as they grow older. When someone sees a photo of a Manurang child, and then sees that same person years later, the difference can be surprising. Their facial structure shifts slowly, and the changes are often hard to explain unless you know about their condition. Their faces don't stay the same, and that's what makes them stand out. Some people are born looking one way and keep that look for life. But for the Manurang family, every stage of life brings new changes. Scientists have even started studying the family to better understand how ectodermal dysplasia affects the human face over time. This condition can cause other problems too, like missing teeth or weak bones. While treatments like tooth implants or surgery can help with some parts, the Manurangs have mostly chosen to accept themselves just the way they are. They've gotten used to the questions, the stares, and even the rude comments, but none of that has broken their spirit. Number 10. The Sarker Family. The Sarker family from a small village in Bangladesh has something that makes them truly one of a kind. They were born without fingerprints. That's right, not a single fingerprint on any of the men in the family, and it's been that way for at least 4 generations. Back in the day, this rare condition didn't cause many problems. But now, it's a whole different story. In today's world, you need fingerprints for everything. Passports, ID cards, mobile phones, even buying a SIM card. And for this family, that's a big problem. They often get stopped, questioned, or turned away because systems can't read what they don't have. It's called adermatoglyphia, a super rare condition. So rare, in fact, it's been nicknamed the immigration delay disease because people with it can't pass fingerprint checks at borders. Number 9. The Pieal Family. The Pieal family in the United States turns heads everywhere they go, not because of something they do, but because of how they look. Each person in the family carries a rare condition called piebaldism, and it's something they've grown to wear with pride. Piebaldism isn't something you catch, it's something you're born with. It's passed down through genes, and it affects the cells in your body that give color to your skin, hair, and eyes. These cells are called melanocytes. When someone has piebaldism, they're missing those color-making cells in certain spots. That's why they have white patches of skin or hair that look very different from the rest of their body. While some skin conditions can change or spread over time, piebaldism is different. It doesn't come and go. A person is born with it, and it stays the same throughout their life. So from the moment a baby in this family opens their eyes, it's clear they're carrying something unique. Something that connects them to the rest of the family in a special way. For the piebald family, these light patches are more than just a medical trait. They're part of their story. Strangers ask questions. Some folks don't understand, but the family doesn't let that bother them. Over time, they've learned to handle the attention with confidence. Number 8. The Trapp Family. Most families go through life without turning heads. But that's not the case for the Trapp family from Minnesota. Everywhere they go, people stop and stare, not because of fame or fortune, but because of their height. The Trapp family is not just tall, they're incredibly tall. Out of the 5 members, 3 are taller than 6 feet 6 inches. That alone is enough to earn them a spot in the record books as the tallest family in the world. But their story is not just about standing above the crowd, it's about learning to live in a world that wasn't built for them. Adam, the oldest child, stands at 7 feet 3 inches. His younger sister Savannah is 6 feet 6 inches, while their mom, Chrissy, the shortest person in the family, still measures a strong 6 feet 3 inches. In most families, she would be considered tall, but in the Trapp household, she's the shortest. Their height is more than just numbers on a chart. It's something that touches every part of their lives. Simple things like walking through doorways, fitting into a car, or buying shoes can turn into big challenges. Clothes that fit right? Hard to find. Beds long enough? Rare. Airplane rides? Let's not even talk about that. But instead of being embarrassed or wishing they were different, the Trapp family has learned to laugh about it. They take photos next to short door frames, they share funny moments online, and they've learned to enjoy what makes them stand out. They've made peace with their difference, and even turned it into a strength. Sports, for example, have become a big part of their world. All 3 of the Trapp kids play basketball and volleyball. Their height gives them a natural edge, and they've used it well. Each one has gone on to play at the college level. On the court, what once seemed like a challenge becomes their superpower. Still, being this tall isn't always fun. The family has had to deal with people pointing, asking too many questions, or treating them like something strange. But the Trapps keep smiling. They know that not fitting in doesn't mean something is wrong. It just means you're different, and different can be a good thing. Number 7. The Parves Family. There's a family in Great Britain whose story stands out because of the unique condition they share, albinism. This genetic trait runs through 15 different family members, from the youngest to the oldest, giving us a glimpse into a life that many people don't fully understand. Albinism is a genetic disorder that affects the production of melanin, the pigment responsible for the color of our skin, hair, and eyes. People with albinism often have very pale skin, light hair, and eyes that may seem almost colorless because their bodies don't produce enough melanin, or in some cases, none at all. For this family, albinism isn't just a physical trait. It shapes their identity and has influenced the way they see the world and how the world sees them. Unfortunately, people often view physical differences like theirs as something that needs to be fixed or hidden away. It can lead to hurtful experiences, as many members of the family have been bullied, judged, and even excluded because of their appearance. But instead of letting these challenges define them, the albino family has chosen to embrace who they are. They are proud of their heritage, their condition, and each other. Their journey to acceptance hasn't been easy. Society tends to view differences as problems, and this family has faced their share of adversity. But instead of shrinking away from the attention, they've become even closer, supporting each other through thick and thin. Number 6. The Silva Family. In Brazil, the Silva family stands out for a unique reason. They were born with extra fingers and toes. Out of 25 family members, 14 have a rare genetic condition called polydactyly, which causes people to have more than 10 fingers or toes. These extra digits can be fully formed and functional, or smaller and less developed. Polydactyly is uncommon, but in the Silva family, it's been passed down for generations. It's become a normal part of their identity, just like eye color or a familiar smile. Living with extra digits isn't always easy. Finding shoes and gloves that fit can be difficult, and the attention from others can be uncomfortable. But the Silvas have learned to adapt. Instead of hiding their difference, many embrace it, and some even see it as a benefit. In sports like soccer and basketball, those extra fingers can help with grip and control. Despite the challenges, the Silva family continues to live fully and confidently. Before we move on, it is time for today's subscriber's pick. On the left, the photo appears to show a very young girl, reportedly pregnant at just 10 years old. While the typical childbearing age ranges from 12 to 45, rare cases defy these norms. For instance, Lena Medina made history in 1939 by giving birth at 5 years, 7 months, and 21 days old. Similarly, there are documented cases of young boys, like a 12-year-old in the UK and an 11-year-old in New Zealand, fathering children. On the right, the image highlights child marriage practices, where a girl was married off at age 8. As we know, these are often against public sentiment, but despite widespread condemnation, such practices still persist in our world, as there are reports where girls as young as 5 are married off. So viewers, tell us what you think about these pictures. Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Number 5. The Marshall Family. Meet the Marshalls, the family making headlines as Britain's most surgically enhanced crew. Led by mom Chantal Marshall, this East Midlands family has spent over £50,000 on cosmetic surgery, mostly on breast implants. That's right, they've got nearly 3 liters of silicone between them. Chantal, the mom, has had 4 boob jobs and now wears a 32 double G. Her daughters Emma, Terry, Tara, and Ripley have all followed her path, each getting their own upgrades. Emma and Ripley are beauticians. Tara is a stay-at-home mom, and Terry works with horses. But they all have one thing in common: giant chests and a love for going under the knife. Now here's the real kicker. Chantal even wanted her youngest daughter, Brittany, to get implants too. The only problem? Brittany was just 14 at the time. Chantal said she'd pay for the surgery when Brittany turned 18. But Brittany wasn't having it. She said no thanks. She wanted to focus on school and a real career, not just looks. Love it or hate it, one thing's for sure: they definitely know how to get people talking. Number 4. The Duggar Family. The Duggars from Arkansas aren't just big, they're massive. We're talking about a mom, a dad, and 19 kids, and all their names start with the letter J. The Duggars became famous on a reality TV show that ran for 7 years, showing their everyday life, homeschooling, cooking in bulk, and following strict religious rules. They don't believe in birth control, they don't date like most people do, and the older kids help raise the younger ones. It's like a small village living under one roof. But things took a dark turn. Their oldest son was caught in a huge scandal involving his own sisters. The show got canceled, and later, he was arrested again and sentenced to nearly 13 years in prison for even worse crimes. That opened the door to even more questions about the family's beliefs and the religious group they followed. A new docuseries called Shiny Happy People pulled back the curtain on what was really going on, and it wasn't so shiny after all. Number 3. The Gray Family. Not every family lives the way most people do. Some families follow the rules, go to school, pay taxes, and try to fit in. But then, there are families like the Grays, who chose a very different path. The Gray family lived in Texas, but not in a normal town or neighborhood. They chose to stay far from everyone, deep in the countryside, where they could be left alone. For more than 15 years, they stayed locked in a long battle with the police. That's a very long time for any standoff. The Grays called themselves sovereign citizens. What that means is, they believed they didn't have to follow any laws made by the United States government. No taxes, no rules, no paperwork, nothing. They didn't see themselves as part of the country, and they didn't think the government had power over them. So, they set up their own place, a small farm far from roads, schools, and city lights. They didn't use power from the electric company. They didn't have running water. It wasn't because they didn't want comfort, it was because they wanted total freedom, even if it meant living in rough conditions. Their land became more than just a home. It became a symbol of how far they were willing to go to stay on their own. They didn't want any part of the system. To them, staying free was worth more than anything money could buy. But things didn't stay peaceful. In the year 1999, everything changed. A sheriff's officer tried to arrest someone from the family, but he was shot and killed. That single event turned a quiet rebellion into a major crime. Soon after that, police began a huge manhunt. The family, who had once stayed hidden for so long, was now at the center of a nationwide story. The Gray family's story is not just about laws and crime, it also makes people ask bigger questions. How much freedom should a person have? And how far should the government go when someone wants to live outside the system? Number 2. The Vampire Family. Leah Benninghoff and Arrow Draven weren't your typical couple. They turned heads by declaring themselves modern-day vampires. As part of their unusual bond, they claimed to drink each other's blood once a week, believing it deepened their connection and gave them strength. Talk about a chilling twist on date night. Their romance began online, where they quickly connected over their shared passion for all things gothic and eerie. Arrow, always clad in black with flowing hair and vampire fangs, said he had lived as a vampire for years. Leah, a newcomer to the lifestyle, said meeting Arrow made her feel more alive than ever. The couple planned to tie the knot on Halloween, and even dreamed of creating a community of like-minded vampires. But when their story hit mainstream media, the fantasy started to unravel. The flood of public attention brought chaos, and Arrow later revealed he became homeless and received death threats. In the end, their dark fairy tale faded into reality. The love may have been intense, but life as a vampire couple turned out to be more nightmare than dream. Number 1. The Bannon Family. Try to picture doing everything in your day without arms. Getting dressed, eating, brushing your teeth. For most people, that sounds nearly impossible. But for Katie Bannon and her son Jackson, that's just everyday life. They were both born with a rare condition called Holt-Oram syndrome, and it's shaped their world in big ways. This syndrome affects the heart and the arms. In Katie and Jackson's case, it left them without fully developed arms. They don't have the use of their upper limbs at all, yet that hasn't stopped them from living full, independent lives. The condition runs in families. If a parent has the gene for Holt-Oram, there's a 50% chance their child will be born with it too. That's how Jackson inherited it from his mom. Some people might see that as bad luck, but this family turned it into something powerful. Growing up, Katie had to figure out how to do everything without arms. And when Jackson was born the same way, she knew exactly how to guide him. The two of them have spent their lives finding ways to get things done using their feet, their legs, and their strong will. They eat with their feet. They type, cook, clean, even play sports. all without hands. They don't rely on fancy machines or high-tech gear, just determination and practice. Sure, it took time, and yes, it's hard, but they never gave up. People often assume that missing limbs means missing out on life. Katie and Jackson prove that idea wrong every single day. Their lives aren't sad or full of limits. They go to school, work, travel, and do all the same things other people do, just in different ways. What's most inspiring is that they never tried to hide who they are. They found strength in their differences, and by doing that, they've inspired many others to believe in what's possible. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.